What is up, guys? Welcome on back to the news with TK and all of the media, legacy media, alternative media, liberal media, conservative media. There seems to be a consensus. Letitia James is about to be indicted and criminally charged. So what is up, guys? Welcome on back to the news with TK. In today's video, we're going to get into some of the different clips that have been coming out through the evening into the weekend talking about Letitia James. And there has been several legal experts, people that have testified, litigated cases at the Supreme Court, to judges and more. I think the consensus pretty much is with the grand jury in Eastern Virginia, which, by the way, never loses, and the New York Attorney General up in Albany opening their investigation and the FBI investigation. It is a matter of time. Big Tish is outside. Letitia James is literally trying to maybe muddy the jury pool at this point. But I think where she has the most exposure is going to that Eastern District of Virginia. It's not going to matter if they indict you there. Needless to say, let's get into a couple of the different clips and what's being said and come back and discuss.
Activist New York State Attorney General Letitia James gathered with a bunch of other radical left-wing extremist Democrat attorneys general from Democrat states, blue states, to boast about their endless lawfare against Donald Trump, President of the United States, and when he's not President of the United States. So she probably wasn't expecting this from the crowd filled with fellow traveler Trump haters.
My question is for Tush James. Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
Thank you for coming. Everybody knows those allegations are baseless. They're discredited. And so we want to thank him.
Everybody doesn't know that. Nobody knows that. That's Letitia James. She found out yesterday that the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Albany, New York, formally opened a criminal investigation into allegations that she committed mortgage fraud in order to get better rates, which is, ironic considering that she actually went after President Trump, claiming that he overvalued his real estate holdings, and that's not the only irony coming from this. They don't understand irony at all. She later went on to MS-13 DNC to claim that she is the poor victim of lawfare here.
Unfortunately, I have been someone who has been targeted, but I am not fearful. I am fearless.
She's not fearful. She's fearless.
No, I think she lives in a glass house.
You think?
That's one of the things I wonder if we can look up on those mortgage forms. Like, what's the house made of?
We saw the house. It wasn't glass.
And this is one of my favorite stories as a legal affairs reporter. I actually have a book coming out about lawfare. And one of the things I open up the Letitia James chapter with is quotes from 2018 and her campaign where it's, I'm going to shed a light in all of Donald Trump's dealings. And then she has, it's very rich now that she's the one that claims that she's, seeing lawfare committed against her. But I do think that when we're talking about wasting millions of dollars going after him in New York, we're still waiting for the appeals court decision, which was months ago. I mean, it's been 6 months. They thought that was going to happen like around January or so, and it did not go well for her office. I mean, that's a liberal court, and even the judges there were skeptical about what she's done.
And Emily, I got to say, it really is a glass houses kind of scenario. But she goes on MS-13 DNC with Jen Psaki, who is, when you're a Democrat, you go on network TV with Democrat administration officials posing as journalists, posing as anchor people, and they fluff you. You never get hit
Not
with
as
a
anchor
hard ball.
babies?
You never get hit with a hardball question. It's great to be a Democrat. You go on these networks and they want to give you, a hot oil massage.
You know what? The American people are so sick of footing the bill for this Democratic fraud that the $10 million in legal fees doesn't even shock me, because we've seen how much the Democratic Party has spent on illegal immigrants. New York City spent $5 billion on feeding and housing and clothing illegal immigrants. $59 million on the luxury hotels in New York City. Clearly, their priorities are out of whack, and the American people are sick of footing the bill for those priorities.
Well, what Emily's saying is that the Democrats in Albany, New York, and the State House set aside $10 million so that she can to pay for her legal bills. And this is a person, she's being prosecuted, perhaps, by the federal government. And now they got the taxpayers paying $10 million in her legal bills. That's good to be a Democrat.
Federal prosecutors have officially opened a criminal investigation into New York Attorney General Tish James. At a media event in Albany yesterday, U.S. Attorney John Sarcone wouldn't comment.
I only know what I read in the paper or what's been reported in the media. So whatever's been reported in the media, that's all I know.
I believe there was a statement from your office that sort of confirms that.
I heard about the statement, and I called the reporter and told them that I'm not going to say you misquoted, but what was meant by that statement was whatever is reported in the media is all that my office is aware of.
Doubt.
The New York Post claims the initial request for an investigation that was sent last month specifically referred to Sarcone's office. But again, you heard him there claiming that he only knows what has been already reported in the media.
With us, I think, the night we broke the news that there was a potential criminal referral or a letter about New York Attorney General Letitia James over alleged mortgage fraud. And tonight we have even more news. Fox has confirmed that the Justice Department has officially opened up a criminal investigation into James's real estate transactions. Jonathan, what of this?
Well, Laura, as you know, the key here is that once you start that federal investigation, there's a lot of people and a lot of powers that can be brought to bear. This is what James herself did. She, you get an arguably credible basis for an investigation, and then you just look at everything. And so the danger for James is that the Department of Justice doesn't just focus on the initial criminality that's been alleged. If they see other possible criminality, they're allowed to pursue that. And so she has a great deal to be worried about as they go through these records.
And just about 20 minutes ago, she was speaking. She didn't address the investigation itself, but she did attack the administration. Watch.
Either we fight for our democracy, my friends, or we lose it. It's tyranny or oligarchy, and I refuse to accept either option. And I will not sit idly by and allow them to trample on your rights. You elected me to stand up and defend the Constitution and the rule of law, not to protect and defend a king.
She did go on to say that the allegations apparently are baseless. So she addressed that after that. But yeah, she's worried, clearly. So she's trying to, saying this is all political.
Yeah, and amplifying your message doesn't improve it. And I think part of the problem here is that what her team is saying is really quite laughable. Her lawyer and her team came out today and said, this is all revenge because Trump campaigned on pursuing his opponents. James ran for her office based on a pledge to bag Trump on anything. She didn't even bother to state the crime. She just said, I'll find something and fill that blank in later. And so it's just really otherworldly to hear her team now making that same argument. But she better be worried that these investigators might apply the Letitia James standard, because her view was anything filed under your name is yours.
And they are now getting into the business of Letitia James again. There is apparently a grand jury impaneled in Eastern Virginia. The FBI office in northern New York, I think Albany, is handling these cases. It's starting to get real.
You know, it's very unusual but not unprecedented to have two grand juries. Bob Mueller, we know who that is, famously had two grand juries when he was investigating the president. So that one grand jury gets the dirty work, and the other grand jury hears only the evidence that the government wants them to hear. That's a federal prosecutorial technique. What do I mean by dirty work? One grand jury issues all the subpoenas, the other hears only what the government wants them to hear. I am sure she will be indicted. I think she has some substantial defenses. A lot of this happened beyond the statute of limitations, which is 5 years. A lot of these documents weren't signed by her. But I think she'll be indicted, and there probably will be, not the trial of the century, but a monumental trial over this, either in Buffalo, same place where the Chief Justice was, or in the Eastern District of Virginia, an area you're familiar with, where the government never loses.
Oh, all right.
So as you can see, I think one of the ones that was most damning is Andrew Napolitano, the judge over on Newsmax. He's not in a good light as far as the Trump administration is concerned, but he's literally a black and white type of person. What I mean by that is he literally goes by the letter of the law, and whether or not you agree with his stance on where the Trump administration is and immigration and things of that nature, he is a brilliant legal mind. And for him saying she's 100% getting indicted, and all the other experts, Turley, I mean, you can go down the line. And here's the thing, Turley's a Democrat. You know, I see people all the time talk about, oh, Jonathan Turley's a conservative. No, he's a Democrat, 100% Democrat. And when people on both sides are coming out and saying she's going to get booked, I think it's literally a matter of time before she gets booked. Especially with the subpoenas going to her staff, having to come testify at a grand jury. Like I said, I think the biggest exposure for her is not in New York. I think it is the Eastern District of Virginia. That is the case that she 100%, because not only can the Eastern District of Virginia go after her for the mortgages in Virginia, they can also bring in the stuff that happened in New York. And that's why I think, because of the grand jury, they have the Albany Attorney General, the Albany U.S. Attorney and the FBI in New York investigating there to bring more information for the case that they're going to bring in the Eastern District of Virginia, meaning no home field advantage for Letitia James, and one of the highest conviction rates of all the federal courts, the Eastern District of Virginia. Look it up. It is bad news for Letitia James. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what we do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.